Hello, my dear friends. Your columnist of military news from Ukraine is with you. Today we will summarize the results of the 18th of July and the 510th day of the war in Ukraine. I will tell you about the course of military events. We will look at current and possible troop movements on an interactive war map. Based on the latest news from the front line, you will learn about the successes or failures of the summer Ukrainian counteroffensive operation. Yesterday started with important news for all Ukrainians. Late at night, Vladimir Putin's motorcade was spotted in Moscow on its way to an urgent meeting in the Kremlin. Whenever this happens, it means something serious has happened. And so it was. At night, the teamwork of Ukrainian sea and air kamikaze drone operators resulted in significant damage to the Crimean Bridge. The Russians decided that the attack would be carried out only by aerial drones, but the main blow was being prepared by naval drones, which approached the bridge at high speed. The explosion was so powerful that it threw at least one span of the highway bridge off its supports into the water. According to Russian mass media, the repair of the bridge will last at least until autumn. This will significantly worsen the supply of the entire Russian contingent in the Kherson and Zaporozhye directions for many months to come. An alternative supply route leads through the occupied part of Ukraine. The transport routes through this area are within the HIMARS defeat radius. Probably, the time will come when the Russian army in the southern direction will begin to feel acutely the lack of supplies. For them, this is a particularly vulnerable moment, especially at the height of the Ukrainian counteroffensive. Perhaps in the near future we will see a lot of good news in this direction, similar to what we saw in September-October 2022. Against the background of these events, Russia suspended the grain agreement, and posts calling for the destruction of Ukraine began to appear in the Russian mass media. Dmitry Medvedev, deputy chairman of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, issued a tweet in which he calls for the destruction of the military-political leadership of Ukraine, their residential buildings, and the houses of their relatives, using any military means, including nuclear weapons. In fact, he proposed to organize a doomsday for Ukrainians. Russia was preparing for a whole day. At night, on July 18th, more than 1 million residents of Odessa woke up to loud explosions. This is my hometown. The raid began around 2 o'clock in the morning and lasted for 3 hours. It was a wave attack. At first, reconnaissance drones flew. Half an hour after them, groups of Shahid 136 strike drones, 7 units at a time. There were 5 such groups. The last time, when the Ukrainian air defense was exhausted, the city was attacked by 6-caliber cruise missiles. Every 20 minutes, all the houses in the city shuddered from a series of powerful explosions. At the time when the people of Odessa were hiding in shelters and praying, in Russian telegram chats, they triumphed and urged them not to stop. They rejoiced at all the news of the night. According to the Ukrainian command, the Air Defense Force shot down 31 strike drones out of 35 and 6 cruise missiles out of 6. As a result of the attack, port infrastructure facilities and several private homes were damaged. Several people were injured. This is all thanks to the courage and professionalism of the Ukrainian military and Western air defense systems. Let's move on to the current situation on the front line. During the counteroffensive operation in the south, the defense forces of Ukraine liberated almost 180 square kilometers. According to the data of the General Staff of Ukraine, the losses of the Russians over the past 24 hours amounted to manpower 710 killed, combat armored vehicles 17 units, tanks 4 units, artillery systems 38 units. In the Kherson direction, Russian troops are conducting assault operations with the support of artillery in Duchy, with the aim of stopping the development of the Ukrainian bridgehead on the left bank of the Dnieper. In the Zaporozhye region, the Ukrainian army continues its offensive in the area of Pyatakatki, Robotyno, and Staromayorsk. There is a high frequency and severity of hostilities here. Opponents try to find weak points in each other. However, there have been no significant changes on the front line over the past day. In Donetsk region, the Ukrainian army continues its offensive on Bakhmut. On the southern flank, the Ukrainians managed to seize key heights in the Klishchivka area, fully establishing control over this village. On the northern flank, Ukrainian troops are conducting offensive actions simultaneously in 2 directions, from Bodanivka in the direction of Brukivka and from Rozdalivka in the direction of Soldar. If successful, this would allow Ukrainian forces to take control of a supply route to key heights in the area under fire, potentially forcing Russian forces to leave the area. The situation is the most difficult in the Luhansk direction. Russia has gathered more than 100,000 troops here and has now started an offensive. For them, this is the best place to do it. In the area of Karmazanivka and Masyutino settlements, the Russian assaults were successful. They managed to break through the front to a depth of up to 3 kilometers. Ukrainian forces will have to make significant efforts to stop the advance of Russian troops and regain control over the lost positions. Today, I drew your attention to important events taking place on the territory of Ukraine. Millions of Ukrainians are deeply affected by the war, and I want to thank you for your support. You are witnesses of the strength and determination of the Ukrainian people, who courageously stand in defense of their freedom and independence. Our history is full of exploits, and our struggle continues every day. If you feel the importance of keeping abreast of events in Ukraine, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next report.